Welcome. You're watching Financially Speaking. I'm your co-host, Mark Henry, and of course that means I'm joined with the co-founders, Dave Allen and Frank.
Yes, sir. I like that.
Now, if you've watched before, you know why I said that. Frank does have a last name, but I'm going to get it right. You ready? Lovaglio.
No, it's getting closer, though.
Golly, every time. Tell me exactly how to say it one more time.
Nice, easy flow, Lovaglio.
Lovaglio.
Yeah.
Lovaglio. All right, I'm getting there. We make fun of that, guys, but you know what's not, something you can't make fun of is the idea that you've worked 30 years, 35 years, many times, and you've got your financial security. We know where our real security comes from. But my life's work when it comes to the finance side. And yet I'm heading into something that could be a 25, 30-year retirement.
Sure.
Correct.
And I'm doing it with statements, with no financial plan.
Right.
And then when I do see the financial plans around the country, I see these cookie-cutter, one-page things that say, okay, you'll be fine. When my wife says, and I say, how are you? And she says, fine, I'm thinking, what did I do?
Yeah, how fine is it?
Oh, no,
Yeah,
you don't like
the
that
word fine is not good.
No.
And when it comes to financial planning, I don't want to hear from my big box retail advisor, you're fine. That does not give me comfort.
Right.
But I think, and what I love about you two, I'm so glad I was able to come back on the show, is you two give comfort in that they have a written financial plan.
Correct.
All right, so I just want to throw this idea out there. This show's not scripted. You two have no idea what I'm going to talk about. But when I think of how I've lived my life, I've gotten a paycheck, I've tithed, I've paid taxes, I've saved, and I've spent money.
That's right.
Why does that actually change in retirement? It seems to me one of the most overlooked parts of the actual financial planning mess is what's called an income plan. Tell me about that.
Absolutely. So, it's very critical. One of the things we do, and we mentioned this on some of our prior shows, when people come in, the first meeting or two is complimentary, and it's really an opportunity to get to know you as an individual. Dave and I have worked with some clients over 3 decades. And you build a relationship over 3 decades. Our advisory team has over 20 advisors, including Dave and I, to help. But when someone comes in, the first meeting or two is collecting information to understand what it is about you as a client that'll help us help you. So we're going to income, no matter what you're doing in your life, it's very important from a financial standpoint to make sure that your income is not outlasted. So many people say, hey, Frank, Dave, financial team, tell me I don't want to outlive my money. And we have clients with a lot of wealth that are still very scared about running out of money. They don't want to depend on their children or someone else for them. That's a very scary thing. So one of the things we look at in those first couple of meetings are, let's look at your different sources of income. Let's look at your 401k. Let's look at your pension. Let's look at your after-tax accounts. Do you have any rental real estate or other wealth that's outside of your 401k and IRA? And then we'll take all those buckets and we'll put them in an organized written financial plan as a part of the overall planning process and make sure that they have the sufficient income, not just for today, tomorrow, or 5 years, but for the rest of their lives. And we use very conservative rates of return to make sure we get them to the other side. I think that's important.
Frank, to add to that a little bit, is that what happens today is that we all know can change on the dime tomorrow. But look what happened in March, right? March of 2020, our world changed a little bit, right? Because
changed a lot.
February felt good. March felt like, what's going on here? And so there were many of our clients that came into us then and said, are we still okay? And so we go back to the plan, look at the original goals and objectives, and if there's, some people have lost a job, I've lost my job, am I still okay? You need to tune it down a little bit, or you're fine. And the plan is a living, live plan. We have all your data, we plug in the new circumstance, and we revisit that and say, yes, we're good, or no, we're not good. And we'll be straightforward with you to tell you, we're not going to sugarcoat it. We're going to say, you need to make some changes, or you know what, you're just fine, relax. Don't let, you have to be invested appropriately to your risk tolerance. And if you step out of that risk tolerance, we find that we have people that come in, Mark, that say, I didn't save early. I have no choice but to be aggressive. I got an emergency catch-up plan. I hate that comment.
That's scary.
Right.
It's very scary.
Me.
It puts me under unnecessary pressure. And then when volatility happens like this, guess what they do? they change everything. Go to cash at the wrong time.
Right.
And Frank and I always say, it's your money, not ours.
Well, it's one of the things
we take pride in that.
That I loved about y'all when you talked about that's the number one rule in investing. It's really not that hard. You buy low and sell high.
That's right. That's
but
right.
the reality is nobody does that.
No.
What happens is they see the market's going up. They're like, I got to get some more of that.
Yeah.
So what do
I
they
only
do? They
want it when
buy,
it's high.
and then they see them go down, and they're like, oh, I can't stand it. And they sell. That's the exact opposite of how you make money
It's
in the
the
markets.
only market that everybody wants to buy when the product is the highest price.
I've never heard it said
That's
like
true,
that.
yeah.
As
That's
long
true.
as I've done this, I've never heard that before. And but see, that's where the coaching and the education, I think that's what makes me so passionate about working with you two on this show, is it seems like you take these prospective clients that come in and you give them education. Is that the right way to say it?
Absolutely. That's the case.
Absolutely. I mean, we were laughing maybe on one of the prior shows that we've done that these financial plans, these written, documented, detailed financial plans that sometimes are a few hundred pages where we get into the specifics and everyone's specific situation that comes in because everybody's different. Some of these clients 20 years later will bring in that original written financial plan because the value they put in it, it was like, this is my financial EKG and these guys I've entrusted to take care of my life's wealth. There's so much trust in that plan. They'll bring it back year after year, and we were laughing that some of the print's starting to like leak a little bit. These are older plans, but it's the very basis of decisions they've made, good decisions for decades. Some of them 3 decades.
That's got to be so satisfying to both of you, and also the team.
Yeah.
There's more than just you two.
Absolutely.
There's a big team, but it's got to be so satisfying when you see people being able to go through a 15, a 20, a 25. Y'all been doing this 35 years. You've got clients that have been with you 3 decades, and you see them still thriving. Is that the right way to say it? Not surviving. When I think about my own personal retirement, making this very personal, I do not want to survive in retirement. I want to thrive.
Absolutely.
I've worked too hard. I want to thrive in retirement.
Absolutely.
But I wouldn't know how to do that without partnering with true professionals that can illustrate that, but also illustrate it over a long period of time. And the terms you use, they get me so excited. When you said you reverse engineer, you take where your clients want to be and you reverse engineer back to now to get them there. I love that.
Right.
So incredible. We're going to have to go to commercial break, but I got to tell you, I want to make sure I got this right. I know we're going to make this opportunity, this amazing opportunity where people can call in and talk to a real live operator and set an appointment to come in and actually receive a written financial plan complimentary.
Correct.
But did I get it right that you two as the founders, the co-founders, but they may get lucky enough to actually sit with one of you two?
Absolutely.
We're actively working advisors. We are part of the team. And so when they come in, they'll meet with us, they'll meet with our team.
That's amazing.
And we're part of it.
In multiple locations there in Florida to service them.
Right, we have a very active office in Orlando area.
Okay.
And in the Baldwin Park area.
Okay.
Which is really close to Winter Park, but right dead center of Central Florida.
Sure.
And then we have another very active office in Brevard County near Melbourne, Florida.
Okay.
In a little area called Viera, which everybody there knows where Viera is.
Yes, they do.
That's where the government's located there. And that's right in the center of all what's going on with the Space Center there with Elon Musk's deal.
What a great place to be, right?
Oh, yeah, it's a wonderful place.
That's
Frank and I were
awesome.
born, I was born there. Frank moved there when he was younger, so it's nice to have an office back where we came from.
Where your home is. That's amazing. Listen, this is a very important time. Phone operators are standing by. The phone lines are actually open right now. Here's the number to call, 877-740-6553. Again, that number, 877-740-6553. You're calling in for the next 10 callers, an amazing opportunity to receive an actual full-blown, comprehensive financial review, including providing you with your own written financial plan. I've seen others charge $1,000, $1,500 for similar offers or more. It is absolutely complimentary with no obligations other than this one. You have to leave your checkbook at home, but you have to pick up the phone right now and call 877-740-6553. Don't put it off anymore. Get your very own written financial plan. 877-740-6553. Stay tuned. We've got so much more coming back up on Financially Speaking.
How confident are you in your current financial plan? Do you know with certainty how the recent market volatility will affect your future hopes and dreams? How much are you paying in taxes? And how much are you losing to unnecessary high fees? You didn't work to save this money so that you could spend your time worried in retirement. Now is the time to take charge of your finances so you can feel confident about your future. Call in during the next 30 minutes of today's show only to set up an absolutely complimentary, no obligation, full-blown financial review that will result in your own customized written plan. This is a $999 value that we're giving away complimentary to the first 10 people who respond. We'll start with a full-blown analysis of what you already have by running a report to untangle how much you are currently paying in fees, how you're allocated for risk, and what it's costing to work with your current advisor. Next, we'll identify your goals. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Where do you want to go, and who do you hope to go there with? Is your current financial plan set up to get you there without mishap? Let's design a roadmap to create a financial plan you can follow with confidence. Get the piece that so many people are missing from their retirement. Find out how having a written plan can make a difference to your retirement dreams. Call now to schedule your complimentary, no obligation, full-blown financial review today.
Welcome back to Financially Speaking. I'm your co-host, Mark Henry, and of course, I'm joined with Dave Allen, and I'm just going to say Frank.
That's it. That's better. It's easier.
Oh, my gosh. If you've been watching, you know why I call him Frank, because that is his name. But the rest of it gets a little challenging for us Southern boys. So there you go. Listen, we've had some great topics on this show, but I really want to jump into one that's happening. I get this around the country. And again, not a scripted show. They don't know what's coming. But I'm listening to many people that had this idea of what they were going to do, when they were going to retire, and life happens. In this case, a lot of it was COVID and shutdowns and closures and things like that. And they find themselves 45 years old and starting a new job.
Right.
Are they too young to come to your firm because they have this 401k that they need to do something with?
Oh, no, younger the better.
Younger the better.
Start planning early. That's whoever starts planning early is going to be the winner down the road.
So what's the idea then? So like I've left this company, I've got this other 401. What can they do with it? They don't want to pay taxes on it.
No, I mean, many people might have already done this because in Florida people do change jobs quite a bit. But
sure,
you should take that money. Do not take it personally and start spending it. Roll it over to an individual retirement account. Let that money keep going pre-tax, tax deferred for yourself. And then it's too early to take that money because if you're 45 years old and you pull it, you have a 10% premature withdrawal and federal income taxes. So you're 35 to 40% short right then.
Right.
So,
and I'll add to that, Dave. By doing that, not only does it allow you to continue to grow that money tax deferred, so there's no taxes on it, but even more importantly, when you're in a 401k, and there's a lot of great 401ks out there, so I
know where you're going, though.
It's
still limited, isn't it?
That's right. Well, you got 9 options, right?
Yeah.
So what we typically see, Dave and I, in our team of 20 advisors, is people will come in and they'll show us their options they were with in their 401k currently with a big corporation, and you got 8, 9 options, or sometimes more, but sometimes less.
Right.
What our firm can do is say, okay, well, that's a good start, and you've accumulated wealth, you just left your job, coronavirus has a lot of people, 20 million Americans are unemployed. You can take that money, put it in an IRA, and then let us get a custom plan. Part of our written financial plan is to really study the investment piece of your plan and open the world up to all kinds of...
The world becomes their playground.
Exactly,
right.
yeah. All kinds
versus
of
the limited, and it could be a good plan, but it's still limited.
Yeah.
But it's still limited.
Still limited.
Mark, another thing that happens with some of these people, we work with a lot of firms, local firms in town, which are national firms. We have a number of clients, a great number of clients with Lockheed Martin.
Yeah.
They're a big local employer of us. Disney, of course, Orlando, Disney. They had a lot of layoffs. We had a lot of executives. I mean, 30-year people.
Right.
Their job was eliminated. And they have, and some of them have just, you know what, I'm done with this. I think I'm going to accept my pension and roll over my 401k and get on. Well, those are you've worked your life for that money. And people take their pension options they don't realize how valuable a pension is, because new people, younger generations.
No more pensions.
No, that's a dinosaur.
Right.
It's a lucky dinosaur.
Right.
And so some people just say, I'm going to check the best box, the one that has the highest pay on it. Well, that best box is a life only. And if you're married or you want any money to go to the next generation, it is it goes away.
Here's my thoughts
Very
on that,
important
though. If
decision.
I'm faced with these tough decisions, I maybe thinking about early retirement because I've worked my career, but now my job's being outsized, downsized,
Right.
whatever. I would want a partner to come talk to say, this is what I'm thinking, but somebody that could step back and not be personally
Mark,
involved.
that's what we pride
and
ourselves
kind of look
in.
at this.
That's what we
Absolutely.
pride ourselves. Our clients will call us on so many things. I mean, yes, when somebody retires, yes, the money, typically
Right.
will come to our firm and we'll help in management. But that decision is so huge. We invite them in. We get all of their literature, look at all their options. Sometimes it's a lump sum option. Sometimes it's you've got 4 or 5 and it's a survivorship options. It's a big decision. Then we'll help them make the decision. But in addition to that, so many times our clients will call in. A client of ours is welcome to call us if it acts or smells financial, whatever it is.
Yeah.
If I'm buying a car, leasing a car, do I take a mortgage? Do I not
That's
take a
what you're
mortgage?
talking about, like home refinancing and.
We don't. We're not. We're,
Right, you don't do that business, but you
can
help them
refer-
make that decision.
Right. We've
Of what's best for them,
Right. Yeah.
financially speaking.
Correct.
That's why it's called financially
Yeah.
speaking, right?
Mark, to add to that, we had a lot of questions. We had the Secure Act and the CARE Act that came
Sure.
out January 1 of 2020. We had a bunch of calls for our whole team. One part of the CARES Act is you could pull $100,000 out and
Yeah.
withdraw money out of your.
If you'd been affected.
If you'd been
Little
affected.
rules, right?
There are a few rules. I don't want to get into over detail, but if you had the virus itself was one of the rules, and if you were financially adversely affected was one of the other rules. I think it was either or.
Right.
But if you qualified under those rules, you could take $100,000. Well, in March when the market was getting hammered, maybe not the best time,
Right.
but even for some of our high net worth clients, as the year went on, October, November, December, every situation is different for every client. But for some clients, it actually made sense, even if you were in a high income bracket, to pull that money out at the end of the year because you got you had no premature penalties. You had a 58-year-old that had a lot of wealth that could afford, he wanted to get some of that money moved over. You pay the taxes 33% a year, so $33,000 in 21, $33,000 in 22, $33,000 in 30.
Spread it over time.
Spread it out, so no premature penalty, and you spread the taxes out over 3 years. For some people, depending on their situation, it may have made sense, but those are the kind of things that people will call in and say, "Help us, guys."
Here's what I'm seeing. Here's what I'm sitting here thinking, and I think a lot of the consumers right now watching are thinking. They don't have this type of relationship or partnership, for lack of a better word, with their current big box retail firm.
Right.
They're just there for one thing. Here's your statement, and you did good last quarter, and good luck.
Right.
And that's just totally not who you two are or your big firm. And I like to think, y'all are big enough to serve them, but small enough so that you can care about these other things in their life.
That's right.
Absolutely.
And as a consumer, myself as a consumer advocate and working with financial planners around the country, I don't think you two realize how special what you've built there is. This is an amazing thing. We've got to go to commercial break, but the passion is coming out even in me because I enjoy being here with you today. And as a consumer, I know they're going, I don't have this. Well, here's your opportunity to at least get a part of it. The written financial plan. They've agreed to take the next 10 callers that call in right now, and create a full-blown, comprehensive financial review, including providing you with a written financial plan. You're watching right now and you know you need this. Are you confident enough in your current advisor to not seek out a second opinion? A second opinion. Get a written financial plan, absolutely complimentary with no obligations if you'll do one thing. Dial this number right now. It's on the screen, 877-740-6553. Again, that number, 877-740-6553. This is an amazing opportunity. Take advantage of it. We've got a little bit of time left, so don't tune the station out. Stay tuned on Financially Speaking.
As a good saver, you've been putting away money during your working years. Studies find that the biggest fear of retirees is running out of money. Market volatility isn't just the downward movement of stock prices, it's the size and frequency of change. The more dramatic the ups and downs, the higher the volatility. This can put savers who are newly retired or a few years away from being retired at greater risk. Today's generation of retirees is not receiving traditional pensions as our parents or grandparents did. Instead, we have retirement accounts such as 401ks or 403bs. These accounts typically expose your money to market risk. The last thing you want right before retirement is to lose a portion of the money you need for income. But how do you turn these accounts into a retirement income? Is it safe to keep all your retirement money sitting in the stock market? The last thing you want is to lose a portion of the money you need for income due to market loss. By working with a financial professional, you can learn how to turn a portion of your savings into an income stream for life and income for the life of your spouse if you're married. We all have moments in our lives when we wish we had taken action sooner. Don't let procrastination reign on your retirement parade. Act now before it's too late. Please call our office to set up your no-cost, no-obligation retirement income review today.
Welcome back to Financially Speaking. I'm your co-host, Mark Henry. And of course, we're joined with Dave and Frank, the co-founders of Security Financial Management. And this has been an amazing show. I know I've had a great time, but I want to throw a controversial topic in there. Maybe it's not controversial. It shouldn't be. But I see so many people asking me, is it time or should I be considering Roth conversions? Not contributions, but Roth conversions, taking my big IRA and moving some of it to a Roth account. And they tell me that their current big box retailers aren't talking to them about this at all.
Well, I'll grab that one from you, Mark.
Please.
And one of the reasons they may not be is when you do a Roth conversion, let's just make the numbers easy and say you had $300,000 you want to move over. To get into a Roth, you've got to pay the tax on that. So whenever you pay the tax, just for fun, let's call it a 30% aggregated bracket. That means $60,000, and that can $300,000 be $90,000 coming off the top. So your $300 is now $210.
Okay.
So $210.
I'm not sure I like that idea, but I think the results might be good, right?
Exactly. And when the balance goes down, that $300,000 balance may be $210. So on the front side, you're going, hey, wait a minute. But when that $210 moves over now in a new bucket, that's all going to grow tax-free. So depending on your age, again, every client is different, every situation is different. It may make sense to move that over because for the rest of your life now, that $210,000 is growing tax-free. So you got to look at those situations. I gave a high tax bracket just to be conservative.
Okay.
Sometimes it's 10, 15, 20%.
Sure,
bracket.
it's even better, right?
It's better for them, but I think you got to evaluate that. And some firms are reluctant to do that because when that balance goes down, well, that may not always be great for that person that's handling that balance. So we're looking at, forget about what's best for, it's only about you. What's best for you? If moving that over gives you tax-free income for the rest of your life, then let's do it.
I've never thought about this, Frank. So the reality is, though, with these big box firms, if they were to encourage clients to do that, next month they're actually managing a little less money for the right reasons, but they wouldn't collect as much revenue. So it would actually be a little bit of a pay cut for that advisor.
Could be, yeah.
If they're on a fee-based scenario, it could be. So we got to look at each scenario. So that may be why they don't even discuss it. I don't know. I'm not suggesting that, but it could be.
That could be very well one reason.
Wow.
A lot of times, Mark, we have to look at it if conversion is the right option. You don't have to do it all at one time.
Sure.
You can do it. You can do a little bit this year, a little bit next year. Yeah, you can do it over the time, a number of partial. But we got to make sure that you've got 5 years or, the greater of 5 years or 59. So if somebody is going to be turning income on in the next couple years, it makes no sense.
Right.
Because you're not going to get the benefit of it. But if let's say you're 50 years old and you're going to retire at 65, you got 15 years for your money to come back. And here's a good example that might have been a good strategy in this past March, is when the market dropped and some people owned some stocks or whatever the case may be, or a good mutual fund, it dropped in value. Might have been the perfect time if you had enough time. We had some people that did Roth conversions at that time, moved it over to lower value and let it grow back tax-free. So that's a strategy.
Think about that. Wow. But again, in this historically low tax environment, I can only expect in my lifetime that I'm going to see taxes go up.
I think you will.
So I want to, I think so. No
With all the
crystal ball.
stimulus and everything that's been
Right,
out
I would
there.
think so. So to me, I think, well, gosh, I would love to move money into a bucket so that later, when I want $1 out, I could take $1.
Absolutely.
Because in my IRA bucket, where taxes come out, it may take $1.40 or $1.50 to get $1 one day.
And that's a huge point, Mark. I mean, you look at people today, most people accumulate wealth in their retirement plans. Because as we all know, my wife and I have 4 children, and there's always something to spend money on.
It's in your checking account.
That's right. So you got to steal it from yourself. And when we look at the wealth over the last 35 years, a lot of people's wealth is in their retirement plans because they could steal it, put it away, and then grow it tax deferred.
That's right.
So being tax efficient as you pull money out is a huge part of income planning. Huge.
Well, we're going to run out of time, but before we do, I want to ask a couple quick questions about, which a lot of people I think don't even understand this, but there's different ways to take Social Security or even Medicare. So when I'm with these big box firms, there's no advice given on those items. But am I wrong in saying that you'll actually help clients with those topics as well?
You wouldn't believe how many times we have that conversation. It's probably one of the most confusing.
It's very
choice
confusing.
coming
I
to
hear it
Social
all the time.
Security.
Absolutely.
Which Medicare option should I stay?
Yeah.
If I'm still employed, do I stay with the existing employer, or do I move to one of the supplements or
Right.
Medicare Advantage plan? So we have experts in our office. We have advisors that specialize in those areas. So if a client wants to come in and talk Social Security, we're not billing you more money to talk about your Social Security. It's because it sounds financial. It is financial. It's a huge part of your plan. So we will come in and discuss your options. What we always do, and many times, is say, yours is very complex. It might be important to go sit down with somebody in Social Security and set up a meeting. Many people don't realize that's available, but they'll come to us, talk to us, and if it gets there, sometimes it might be best to go sit down with somebody. But we have people that's part of our team, part of our offer to the client.
This show has flown by. We got to get you more time. I want to get this offer out there one more time. I'm sorry to cut you off, but this is too important. You have an opportunity in front of you right now. Write this number down and make the call. 877-740-6553. Again, that number, 877-740-6553. They've agreed to take the next 10 callers and offer you a full-blown, comprehensive financial review, including putting in your hands a written financial plan. This is a $1,500 offer, and they're giving away absolutely complimentary if you call now. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope you found the information useful and helpful. What a